No pressure.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hey, everybody. I am Tiara, aka T, your wine diva. And today I have a super, super special guest. It is my dear friend, Hannah Deloach. I'm so excited. I feel like I haven't seen you in like ages.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
Yeah, like we've talked, but not like physically seen each other.
Yes, it's been so long. So I'm super excited to have you on and kind of chat a little bit about Hannah, she does filmmaking, she does commercial making, editing, all sorts of good stuff. I met her way back in the day at the good old Virginia Tech, and
So long.
we're not going to talk about how many years that was.
Yeah.
But from like taking film classes together, sometimes even like being in her films. So it was a great time. She was way better at it than me. I'm going to throw that out there. Like way better than me. Like all the good stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about all the good stuff. And yeah, so for those who might not know who you are, Hannah, can you introduce yourself? Talk about what you're working on and what you're doing these days.
All right. Well, these days I'm actually working at the local news station in Lynchburg. I work on the commercial production side of it, so doing local commercials for organizations, different events. And then we actually have a sales show here, so we cover different events in the whole area and different businesses, kind of giving awareness to like more local content. So, I mean, that's kind of the broad spectrum of it, but I mean, I do like most of the shooting, editing, the whole kit and caboodle of all of it. So
it's a lot of work.
Can get
so are you like a one-man band?
Basically, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we have to shoot it and edit it. So I mean, sometimes we can kind of get help from others, but yeah, it's pretty much just like us, one man. I'm used to like, at least back in school, and like that's the interesting part of it. It's like now it's like I'm doing everything when I'm used to like having like a crew and like a big amount of people, and I'm just doing one little thing. Now I'm kind of doing all of it. So it's a little bit stressful. So
I feel you. But when you love what you do, it's not really work, right? Something like that.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean,
Sometimes.
yeah, most of the times it is. But I mean, of course, like with anything, it's a little stressed or just overwhelmed. That was me this week. So
fair enough. It's a hardworking industry. It really is. So can you talk a little bit about how you got into wanting to do film and wanting to work in this industry?
Well, we have to go all the way back to tech. Go back in time. No, I mean, I guess as a kid, I always did it. Like me and my brothers, we always made like movies, home movies when we were little. So I mean, I always was interested in it, but of course, what did my computer just do? Oh, we're good.
No worries.
I no longer have a Mac. I have a PC now. I'm sorry. I know it hurt my soul. It hurt my soul, but I did. So I still love the computer. Yeah, so I mean, I've always liked doing it. But of course, that wasn't the smart thing according to my family. So I went into like more medicine kind of realm when I first went to tech. And then I met our friend Abby.
Yes.
Freshman year. And she was doing, well, I know like I had done like a comm class, but she had done like a lighting project and she needed help on it. And I just fell in love with lighting right then and there. So I was just like, you know what? Like, I've always liked this. I'm just going to do it and say, screw everybody. I'm going for it. So pretty much then and there, I switched my major over. As far as just like, if I can like pick a moment, I will say like on what I wanted to do, lighting and camera wise, I have to thank the show Supernatural. Love that show. Really depressed that it's ending.
Oh,
April will be a dark, dark month for me. I think, yeah, April. Oh gosh. But yeah, that show kind of inspired me with like lighting design on kind of going into that. So that's the broad spectrum of it. So yeah, I mean,
I
I guess
love it.
it's always been involved in my life since I was a little kid. But
I believe, like, I feel like a lot of times people find what they like really love at a young age, and it's always like outside kind of sources that are like, no, you can't do that. No, that's not like a viable space to be in. But like I said earlier,
it
when you
doesn't
love
pay.
what you do, yeah, it
That's
doesn't
what
pay.
it's like you're starving artist is always like the big thing. So
Right. And it's truly a thing. I've been there, I've lived it, but like once you kind of get to a certain space, I find that if you put in your hard work, you put in the effort, you're going to get somewhere, and you might not be like, in Hollywood or whatever, but you're going to go get somewhere, and you can find, if you like put in that dedication and that time. Like I've been doing a lot of these podcasts, and I'm talking to people, and I'm finding like they're like, oh yeah, I was creating content for 10 years, and sometimes we don't see that like progression, and we only see the end fact of like, oh my gosh, this person's super famous now, and you're like, but they
she's been
worked
here before,
super.
yeah. Well, it's just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I think it's more, I mean, just falling in love with just the ability to story tell. I mean, I do
Mm-hmm.
like, do I wish that I was like in a different city right now? Yes, I do. But I mean, it's still like being able to tell local stories is very interesting to me because you don't know anything about these people. So just being able
Mm-hmm.
to really find the ability to story tell has always been interesting to me. So I think it's kind of, some people kind of get clouded with like the fame of it or whatever. It's just like, or just the publicity of it. And it's like, no, it's just like get back to the roots of what it actually is and just give me a good story. So, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is kind of lacking in today's film cinema. There's not as much storytelling. It's more just bottom dollar money. So that's a whole other
Yes.
story.
Speaking of storytelling, so what is your favorite movie? I think I know what it is, but I want others.
Let me go this way. Oh, wrong way. Right there. Titanic.
Titanic.
I have no shame. I don't care what anybody says. Funny thing is, I don't think I ever told you this. Tech, of course, it was more independent films. So when I
Right.
said I love Titanic, I kind of got a little bit of judgment. When I actually went out to LA for school, I said
Mm-hmm.
Titanic, and they were like, "Yeah, that's awesome." It's like big budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the interesting spectrum right there. Is like independent versus like mainstream
Mm-hmm.
commercial. Um, but yeah, I mean, Titanic is great all around. The story is great. I'm not going to deny that. But I'd say like just rich storytelling. Ooh, that's hard. There's a lot. I'd say probably one of my favorites is Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the character. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that attracts me to Supernatural. Yes, the two actors are very attractive. I'm not going to deny that. But it's just like that character development between those two, like that
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And it's the same with Warrior. I guess I'm more attracted to things where it's like focusing on relationships. Just this, like the bond, well, kind of not the bond, between the two brothers in that movie, was just really good. So that's all I can think of right now. I may think of something later. I'm trying to like look on my wall to see if I have anything else. Like, I could pull out I've got a DVD collection, and it's usually like
Gosh, yes.
the top ones I like, but yeah, I'd have to say Warrior is like one of the top ones. But I mean, I honestly here recently kind of lean more towards television, just with their ability to like story tell with relationships. It's a lot stronger
Mm-hmm.
than most movies that I've been seeing. So
So when you're talking about like storytelling versus, you know, just like trying to make a dollar? Like, what does that really look like?
Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, love Marvel. Well, some, but I mean, I guess I'm even still geared towards the ones. I mean, you can look at it, Marvel. You've got Iron Man, Thor, Hulk. I mean, they're more entertaining. Whereas, like, if you go to like Captain America with the first one, I mean, it was like an origin story. Batman Begins, Dark Knight was great. It's like, but I prefer Batman Begins because it's an origin story of that. I think most like bigger budget films and just pure action just are just there to entertain you, which I mean any film should be, but I want the meat of the actual characters. I want to like get to know these characters. I want to know why I should care about these characters. And I feel like with a lot of Marvel movies, it's more about big explosions or like just a big vast plot line as opposed to like centralizing into the characters and really focusing in on that, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. I really like thinking, like immediately when I think of Marvel, I'm like, I have no idea who Hawkeye is. Like, I know nothing really about him. Although I know that he's supposed to get his own movie and his own spinoff. And I think Black Widow, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I get it. Like, it's big, and I think it's very surface is probably the best way to put it. Like, yeah, they have relationships. You know that, like, you know, Tony Stark and Pepper Potts are together. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't seen it.
I didn't know
that. Like, if you haven't read a comic in like the last 50 years. But, like, you know, it's very on the surface, very let me like hit these buttons that the traditional person like really wants to key into. But we're not taking a deep dive into the psyche of these people and the hardship in their relationship. And I think that is what real good storytelling is. It's really about relationships, which is kind of interesting because it ties back, like it ties to business. Like people are so much like about making the dollar in like network marketing and any sort of like business. Sometimes there are people that are so much about that they're not taking that next step to like really connect with their potential client or customer. And now rather than having someone that could have been a lifer, they just have like that person that like bought that one thing and like peaced out and then like they're never coming back.
Well, it's just like you never really know. It's like you could be missing out on something great. It's just like there's a little detail if you just take enough time to kind of like listen and figure it out. It's just like, I mean, with most like action films, you're not going to get any bit of plot or character development for them. It's just like they're just centralized on pretty much entertaining the audience. I mean, what is it? Baywatch, utterly stupid movie, but entertaining at the same time. But I'm like, you get nothing really out of these characters. It's like you come out of the theater basically just being entertained. But I'm like, me personally, it's like I want to come out of the theater crying my eyes out. Like a lot of people always made fun of me because I'm like, yeah, it's like I watched really depressing movies. I'm pretty sure you're one of them.
I said it all through college. Like, do we have to watch Requiem for a Dream again?
Fantastic movie. But I mean, again, it's just like you're getting like these characters, it's like, and just seeing this. Yeah, that's any movie by Darren Aronofsky. What am I talking about? Black Swan, good movie. Yeah, it's you're getting the richness of these characters, and it's like, yes, it's like you want to kind of have an escapism. You want to like not feel as bad as the world is today. I mean, it has definitely changed over the years on the worst factor. But I mean, I still want like that catharsis in a sense from a movie. It's just like, and still too, I do want my entertainment. So it's like, it's a mix for me, but I mean, I'm always going to lend to, I want to get to know these strong characters. I'm like, I'm sitting in here for 2 hours. I want to connect to them for something. So, and again, I guess that's why I lean more towards television now, because it's a longer platform and I can fully connect to the characters, but it also depends on what the show is. So,
yes, okay.
Peaky Blinders is another good one too.
So when it comes to writing, so like, because not only do you shoot and you like do lighting, and if you've never seen, like, I don't know, do you have your shows on like YouTube or Vimeo or anywhere, like anything that you've worked on?
I mean, I have most of my photography up. Not like I forget about like my student films because when I go back and look at them, I'm like, wow, that was terrible.
Oh my gosh, stop it. She's done some great stuff. So we're gonna put that on YouTube. We're gonna have a conversation offline, and we're gonna talk about all of all of that good stuff, because you're gonna get discovered and come out to Hollywood and like hang out with me. Cool. Thanks. Bye.
That's not good to you. No, I mean like a lot of my commercials here recently. One is on Facebook. It's it was with it's a Christian music station here, The Journey. So it was like a partnership ad. So I do have that. But yeah, I guess most of my stuff is like more because I do photography too. That's predominantly what's like on my site. I've got like my demo reel. So that does have, I'm not going to give you the full project. So it's like my demo reel is actually on there with various stuff that I've shot. So yes,
love it.
It is on there.
Because I think like what some people like that love to be creative, a lot of times they'll keep it for themselves. And it's really important especially if you want to like try to get discovered, quote unquote. And in this technical age, in this internet age, it's so much easier for that person that's like in the backwoods of like, nowhere, Kentucky. I don't know. Like,
Tennessee. There's some spots in Tennessee where you're like, where am I?
Like Virginia too, but like, even in California, there's some like random spots. Like, how did I get here? But you can be from really anywhere, and as long as you
stay away from Skid Row.
We're probably like we live like 2 miles from Skid Row. Like it happens.
Oh, really?
It's scary. Yeah. I mean, like where we live, like we're
okay. I need to like come see you because I've been there.
You need to come visit. We're walking distance, like not super. Like we usually take an Uber, but we're like could walk if we really wanted to the Staples Center. Like let's put it that way.
Okay. I mean, that's not too bad. I mean, yeah, it's like I've been to the Staples Center. It's not that bad around there.
Yeah, it's like downtown is really being built up, and they're doing a lot of work. Like when we tell people, because like my boyfriend's family, Justin, like his family's from LA, and they're like, "Oh, you live in downtown? That's scary." But then they like come to our place, and they're like, "Oh, snap! It's coming up, hey!" But anyway,
improvement.
Like, but going like completely off course, off tangent, but totally fine. I love it. So what was I gonna say? Doesn't matter where you're from, what you're doing. Like you can, as long as you have like Wi-Fi or data, like you can totally put your stuff up there and get found by someone. But like I think it's partially consistency and like determination and wanting to create and being able to create. So one of the things I want to ask is you've come up with some amazing like stories and plotlines. So what is your inspiration and kind of what is your process when it comes to writing?
My inspiration. I have a crazy family. That's no, I mean, honestly, it's like, I draw personally for everything, which, I mean, can work and it can't work, just depending on the person. Because, I mean, if you go too far, then, so it really just depends on the person. I can't really tell you what you should draw from and what you shouldn't from. But, I mean, I feel like most creatives kind of draw from their own personal experience.
Yeah, I think it creates like a better connection. Like even from the acting standpoint, like in my my improv class, so I was like talking to the teacher, and I was like, you pull out so many random characters out of nowhere. Like, what is it? And he's like, well, one, I've been doing this for like years and years and years, so I just have these characters in my back pocket that I access, but also like I've built them off of either people I've seen on TV that I want to emulate, or people in my family, in my life. And so we even have we had an improv game where they're like, all right, so can you describe your dad, describe your mom and describe these little intricacies. And then we had somebody else try to like play what I described my father as. And that was just, it was hilarious and it's fun, but it's the same thing. Like when you really know who that person is, like you can base it off of them and you can kind of like play with it a little bit, like turn up the heat if they're kind of crazy, but like you can turn it up either to make them like extra or like turn it down a little bit and make it muted. So like they don't necessarily know that it's them that's being portrayed when you actually like do the thing.
Yeah, because then they're like, that film looks a lot. It's like
that sounds.
Yeah. So you do run into that. No, really, don't get permission from your family. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Done. But yeah, I mean, I'd say it's just like I pull mostly from personal experiences. And what I like to focus on. That's what you asked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again,
your process,
still, how I process writing. I'm not that great of a writer, to be honest. I can come up with the ideas. Script writing, oh gosh, it's terrible. I'm not gonna say it's very hard. So I will not say that's my expertise. But coming up with concepts. I don't know. I guess I see like I honestly just kind of visually see the scenes in my head. So I mean, I can start from like the end, or I can start at the beginning. Usually, the beginning and the end are the easiest. It's always the middle that's the hardest. So I kind of just like work with that. One of the biggest things I learned when I was out in LA is just you find your characters and then you create different conflicts for them. Because I always ran into that issue. I'm like, I could build all these characters. I could kind of put them in an environment that they had, but it was finding the right conflicts for them to actually progress the story. So just kind of working with that, like seeing different things that they have to go through and where they continue to go through. But I mean, again, still, I always focus on relationships. I've dealt with a lot of different ones in my life. So it's kind of what I geared towards, and kind of like how different relationships affect your life. Different people affect your life. So it's kind of that. And I mean, I guess a lot of stuff that I've written deals with like parents and kids, or lack thereof, and how that particular thing affects kids later, or even teenagers, or even as adults. People have such a great power over you and kind of make you who you are if you allow them to make you who you are. So, yeah, that's probably
that's strong.
Yeah.
And that is a strong statement. If you allow them to make you who you are, if you allow people to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, or, you know, go for your dreams, and like that shapes your life.
Oh yeah. I mean, luckily I ignored that, but I mean, I think people have such a great power to not so much tell you what to do, but whether it's just like their actions affect you and how you think of yourself and how you view yourself and how you view the rest of the world. So not getting too personal there. But yeah, it's seen more like on how one person can have such a strong effect on you and pretty much make you who you are. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes it can be both. So.
Oh yeah. So I think it did. It totally did.
Okay.
So my other question is, how did you find the job that you have? Like now that you're back in Virginia and you're working on this, like, can you talk a little bit about your career in the film space?
Okay. Well, technically, I started actually in news production. Because at Tech, I double majored in broadcast journalism. Did you too? I think you did. Okay. I was like, I can't remember.
I feel like we had more theater classes and cinema classes together than broadcast, but yes.
Yeah, we may have only had two. I couldn't remember who switched out because everybody was switching everywhere. So yeah, broadcast was always my backup plan. Then it became always have a backup plan because it became my plan when I moved back to Virginia. So I started out in news production. So doing camera, audio, all that for the live newscasts in the morning. So waking up at 0 dark 30 was not fun. Seriously, 3:30 a.m. It sucked. But there's no traffic, so give it that.
Right.
Unless you're in LA, there's still traffic everywhere,
There's
all the
traffic
time.
all the time.
But
Crazy.
there is no 5 o'clock traffic. It's all day.
It's pick a time and
Yeah.
sit.
Yeah. So I can enjoy the scenery, cars. But it's, I mean, I lived there for a year, so I know a little bit. But yeah, so I started there, for like a few years, and then luckily a job opened up in commercial production. So of course, sending my reel, portfolio. That's like the most important thing to have. Is portfolio and reel of any work that you've done. So yeah, I just apply. I mean, I can't say it was like some great thing with that. I mean, I just applied and interviewed, and I guess they liked me enough and thought I was good enough. So yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about like creating a portfolio and a reel? Like how do you decide what goes in what and like edit it all together?
Well, it depends on, I guess, what position or like what job that you're going for. Because you're gonna have different reels for like directing, editing, cinematography. As far as cinematography, of course, I mean, you want to use your best shots. You want to use something that's got movement, best lighting, and that general. You don't want to like overload it with like, so it's like, oh, this is an okay shot. It's better for you to have less, and just what you do have is just very strong composition, strong lighting, strong camera work, kind of showing a vast skill of what you can do. So whether it's like shots with gimbals, any tracking shots, or if it's like stylized lighting, you want to use that. As far as editing, again, you're showcasing your editing. So not only is the demo reel, what you're showing in the demo reel is important, but it's how you edit the demo reel, because you're editing. So I can't really give too much words on that one, because I've never really built an editing demo reel. But again, it's still knowing which scenes that you choose are going to be the strongest, so they know like which ones that you know to pick when it comes to actually anything film related. And then the same for directing. You want to showcase I'd say like longer scenes, so you're getting the full picture of the actors and how you lead them, and then how you lead the story itself. So they're all different on how you showcase everything. So I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that, but I mean, it's hard to explain it. I mean, that's kind of like the best way, and it's like in just working around to see. But I mean, usually a demo reel, you want it to hit between 1 minute to 2 minutes. Anything longer than that, nobody's gonna be watching it. They'd be clicking it off. So you kind of want to stay closer to like minute 30 for it. So just don't overwhelm it with, it's like, oh, I've done this. It's like if the project wasn't like, just show that it's like, oh, I've done this many X amount of projects is okay. It's like, show that in your resume so they see that you've done all this. But it's less is more, honestly, as long as it's your strongest work. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Makes good sense. So, in all of the filmmaking and everything that you do, what's your favorite and why?
The camera. I do not like being in front of it. So, the fact that you got me on here, I'm just saying, yeah.
I'm special.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've always lended towards cinematography. I will say here over the past few years, I've actually started to love editing, especially sound editing, which is a beast in itself, and it's highly underrated. Usually, or people kind of cast it off like it's not that important, aka the Oscars. Really angry about that when they cut. Yeah, don't even get me started. Because without a film, yeah. Anyway, get off that tangent. No, I mean, yeah, it's like I've always. That's what actually brought me into film is lighting. It was. Don't make fun of me. But not Chronicles of Narnia, but it was Narnia, Prince Caspian, the opening sequence. No joke. I was in my dorm room and I was watching it with my friend Lauren. Well, actually, I was just watching it by myself, but she was in the room. And just like that shot was just fantastic. And kind of like in that moment, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. So I think, I mean, the camera has so much power to capture emotion, and where you place it can pretty much dictate anything. And making that character feel or be portrayed a certain way by where you put that camera. And lighting at the same time can further enhance that and creating different emotions, creating different moods. And the same with camera. It's like you can create this whole different world and this whole different feeling just in the placement of it. So, I mean, yes, it's good to like capture what the scene is, but knowing where to put it and putting your character in the frame can change it completely. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm super excited because, like, I'm just putting it out there so like the people know that like my dream is to become like such a personality like Gary Vaynerchuk or Oprah or whatever, and Hannah's going to be like my personal like photographer, videographer person.
I mean, I watched the little. That's like I told you. I was like, I watched Peter McKinnon. He's hilarious. So I mean, I'd follow you around.
Yeah, like I think it's great. Like, so she's gonna make me look beautiful, guys. I'm so excited. Let's hope that it only takes a year.
The camera does not lie, so I can't do any magic. You already look good, so.
Oh, girl.
No, I look terrible.
I love you.
This is me without makeup, so it's late. It's 9 o'clock on my time. So
yeah, it is 9 o'clock your time. All right. Final question: who are your mentors in the industry?
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of Aronofsky. If I'm going on the directing route, again, all of his movies are centralized on the characters themselves and kind of like how they have their own downfalls. What is the phrase for it? It's kind of like an obsession that they have. They're all obsessed with certain things and ultimately lead to their utter destruction. Because Requiem, drugs.
Yeah.
There's that.
She likes dark stuff, y'all. Dark stuff.
I mean, but it's just like that's the surface level. It's just like I was like, you've got the mother who's like, yeah, she got on speed. Spoiler, if you've never seen it, it's not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not.
I think I let my friend Lauren watch it, and she was like, "What?" So yeah, she never watched a movie that I recommended after it, but it's fine.
As long as you make truffles, it's totally fine. I'll watch whatever you recommend.
It's a good movie, so I mean, I pre-warn people. But I mean, it's like, yeah, with the mom, like she was obsessed with. I was like, yeah, she was obsessed with losing weight to get into this red dress. It's like, but she was just wanting to be loved and be like admired again. And just kind of loving herself. And of course, Black Swan, she wanted to be the best ballerina. So that obsession. So I mean, it's like I can keep going on and on and on how all these movies are. But I mean, it's really just kind of showing the characters themselves and how they can allow themselves to kind of take over themselves and utterly destroy themselves. So I mean, I think he's just a good storyteller in that way. Nolan as well. The guy's a genius. I'm not gonna lie. He should have been a part of Man of Steel and all those, because I think Superman would have been a lot better if, I mean, he was a producer, but if he had been a part, like, yeah, it would have been better. So I loved Man of Steel. I don't care what anybody says either. That one was great. Storytelling. So
gorgeous. Yeah. That's I watch movies based off how people look. That's obviously what I'm.
Oh yeah, I mean, no one's better in Immortals. See, you're Jason Momoa. It's just too much. Too much.
He's beautiful. That's a whole nother, like, this is a whole nother discussion. We can talk about like men in the film industry and have this battle.
Tom Holland is adorable.
But we can both agree.
Tom Holland. That's all I gotta say.
I love Tom Holland, so we can agree on that one. I think he's amazing. I love that he can just like flip back and forth between his British and his American accent. It's friggin' ridiculous. And he has a theater background, so that also like just bestowed my heart.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say Nolan. I think he's a director that really cares about the actors. I mean, him and Scorsese really care about putting their actors in the environment. I think that's like so many movies now is like we want to rely on CG and effects, and it's like green screens, so you kind of lose your actors in that sense. Like, I can't speak so much for acting, you can more. But I'm like, it's like putting somebody as like where they just got green screen around them. I'm like, yeah, they can act. It's just like, but being able to actually put them in those environments is like you're gonna get a stronger, more believable performance, because I'm like, they actually feel like they're there. It's a little bit harder to act to a tennis ball.
Oh yeah. I like, in speaking to that, like when I like my improv class for example, it's like absolutely no props. It's just like you and the other actors that are like on stage with you. Maybe there's a chair, but like you have to kind of having to remember, all right, I picked up a cup that's like quote unquote a cup or whatever and put it back down, and like what are all these things and what's the shape of it and maintaining that shape. So like if you're holding a bowl, you can't like bring your fingers in and make the bowl smaller. You're crushing the bowl in essence. So like it makes it harder when you don't have the pieces with you and you don't have the scene around you. Yes, you can put yourself in that mindset and you can like with practice can do it, but I do think that it's a lot easier to tap into your space and into the mind frame and like where you are and what you're doing when you're in the situation.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like I will go to those. They don't rely so much. I mean, yeah, they use CGI. I mean, everybody does. But I feel like they don't rely on it as much as like, and you actually get more real rich stories from them. And the same with Del Toro. The monster man of monsters, whatever. He does not need CGI to create these characters. It was like he actually built the characters, and I feel like we lose so much in that. It's just like when it comes to CGI, it's just like Lion King, not live action. It is still CGI.
Right.
But I was like, give me a movie. It's like, yes, it could be a little bit more difficult. I love animals, so probably doing a live action Lion King would be impossible. But they did it with Jungle Book way back in the day with Carrie Ellis. So look it up. It's really good.
I've totally seen that one.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think I have it like on VHS somewhere over the rainbow, probably still at my parents' house at this point, but
I think it's on Hulu. But I mean, so just being like, I just appreciate directors that are willing to actually create the characters, create the worlds, because it's like, as a viewer, it's like I can look at it and be like, oh, that's CGI. It's like, versus like I can look at it and be like, I'm more enraptured in what I'm actually seeing because it's actually real life. So kind of going on that standpoint, I appreciate them on that. I'd say this editor and sound editor, I can't remember the name, for the movie Baby Driver. Guy's insane. Like,
it's such a good movie.
It was. And it's like, and how it was crafted so much, like everything went with the music. It was, I mean, I know like when he was actually shooting it and editing it, he was planning it to the music. So he'd already built the soundtrack. But I just think editing like that is just genius in my opinion. And just really is inspiring to me. See Baby Driver. Yes, you do. And I mean, well, and the same with like Drive. It's the same kind of feeling with that. But yeah, I would say that's probably the most that I can think of right now when it comes to like specifically editing. Because like I said, I'm like really getting into it more now. But I think that one was one that stuck with me so much. Now I need to look up who the editor was because I can't remember. Sorry. But and as far as cinematography, Lubeski, he's a genius. Gorgeous. That guy knows how to shoot. Why am I forgetting it? Golden Hour. He knows how to do natural lighting. I mean, I love natural light. Don't get me wrong, I love studio lighting. I mean, Supernatural, like clearly that's studio lighting, and very like moody, like. So I mean, I would say like the lighting and camera team on Supernatural are a massive inspiration to me. But I would say, yeah, Lubeski, how he deals with natural lighting is amazing. I mean, if you've seen Tree of Life, Revenant, Knight of Cups, which is a really weird movie. Still don't really understand what happened. To the Wonder is another. All fantastic, just beautifully shot. Compositions, like yeah, you just have to see it. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of work. So yeah, I mean, I'd say that's when it comes to like more natural lighting, I'll look at that, and then I'll always be. Peaky Blinders is good too, with how they do like more like studio lighting. So, but I had to look up because I mean they have different DPs for that, so it's like a vast amount of people. So I can't give you a specific name for that, but yeah, Lubeski he's a genius. So
a genius.
I wish I could be him. Like I wish I could do what he does. It's insane. So. But yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Yeah.
So if anyone wanted to check out any of your works, your photography, all of that good stuff, where could they find it?
Well, so I have to buy the domain. I mean, it's on, the link is on my Facebook page that I've got, Hannah Deloach Photography. I think it's linked on there. See, I'm really terrible, honestly, when you were saying this is like you need to keep up with it. I will honestly say that I do not. I mean, especially now that I've been in this job, like I've kind of pushed it on the back burner. But like that is like the biggest thing is like if you want to get into this, especially freelancing it, it's all about like constantly doing work over and over and over and just pushing it out there through social media and just getting your name out there, because again, it's just like nobody's going to know who you are if you're just sitting back and being like, ooh, come to me, because they're not going to.
Right.
There's too many people out there now that are photographers or they're wanting to be or anything, so it's you kind of have to really market yourself. So I'm not the best for that. Especially now that I'm in this position, so it's like come to me. So, but
it's okay. I'll start sending you stuff to edit. and then we'll build your portfolio that way.
So you can tell me, you know, you're the social person. I'm not.
Yes, I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I really appreciated it. You were awesome. You taught me all the things.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening. Thank everyone for watching, listening, all that good stuff. And of course, check out Hannah because she's awesome.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.